Hello, I'm Greg Levine. I'm managing editor of Firedog Lake, and this is the party line for May 6th, 2011. And if you'll bear with me for a minute, I want to read you a short passage. A shrill trumpet call had pierced the air. It was the bulletin. Victory! It always meant victory when a trumpet call preceded the news. A sort of electric drill ran through the cafe. Even the waiters had started and pricked up their ears. The trumpet call had let loose an enormous volume of noise. Already an excited voice was gabbling from the telescreen, but even as it started, it was almost drowned out by a roar of cheering from outside. The news had run round the streets like magic. He could hear just enough of what was issuing from the telescreen to realize that it had all happened as he had foreseen. A vast seaborne armada had secretly assembled a sudden blow to the enemy's rear, the white arrow tearing across the tail of the black. Fragments of triumphant phrases pushed themselves through the din. Vast strategic maneuver, perfect coordination, utter rout. 500,000 prisoners, complete demoralization, control of the whole of Africa, bring the war within measurable distance of its end victory. Greatest victory in human history. Victory, victory, victory. Under the table, Winston's feet made convulsive movements. He had not stirred from his seat, but in his mind he was running, swiftly running. He was with crowds outside, cheering himself deaf. He looked up again at the portrait of Big Brother, the colossus that bestrode the world, the rock against which the hordes of Asia dashed themselves in vain. He thought how 10 minutes ago, yes, only 10 minutes ago, there had still been equivocation in his heart, as he wondered whether the news from the front would be a victory or defeat. Ah, it was more than a Eurasian army that had perished. Much had changed in him since the first day in the Ministry of Love, but the final indispensable healing change had never happened until this moment. The voice from the telescreen was still pouring forth its tale of prisoners and booty and slaughter, but the shouting outside had died down a little. The waiters were turning back to their work. One of them approached with the gin bottle. Winston, sitting in a blissful dream, paid no attention as his glass was filled up. He was not running or cheering any longer. He was back in the Ministry of Love, with everything forgiven, his soul white as snow. He was in the public dock, confessing everything, implicating everybody. He was walking down the white-tiled corridor with the feeling of walking in sunlight. An armed guard at his back, the long-hoped-for bullet was entering his brain. He gazed up at the enormous face. 40 years it had taken him to learn what kind of smile was hidden beneath the dark mustache. Oh, cruel, needless misunderstanding! Oh, stubborn, self-willed exile from the loving breast! 2 gin-scented tears trickled down the sides of his nose. But it was all right. Everything was all right. The struggle was finished. He had won the victory over himself. He loved Big Brother. This passage from the end of George Orwell's 1984 was what was running through my mind, honestly, very soon after I heard the news on Sunday night, early Monday morning, and turned on the TV to see crowds streaming in to Lafayette Park and down by what is unfortunately called Ground Zero and into Times Square. And as I watched this flag-waving Yahoo youth quake chanting USA, 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 I got this really horrible feeling inside, the kind of feeling that a passage like that might give you, and I wondered, like, what was going on for all these people, mostly people who are described by all the reports, as best I can tell, as predominantly younger, so young that they would have been maybe 9 or 10 on September the 11th, 2001. What were they doing? What were they looking for as they chanted USA, USA, waved those flags and went to these seminal points in America's cities? I mean, part of me thinks, maybe they want that Alfred Eisenstadt moment. They want to be that nurse or that sailor and have that embrace, that, special carnal melding that you get, you know, with a sense of the ecstasy is so confusing. It could be anything. Maybe, you know, even if they'd never seen the iconic VJ Day photo, those sorts of emotions are, of course, incredibly powerful. But there was also this sense, this chill that blew through me, not unlike the cold wind that's described by Orwell towards the end of the book, when Winston sees Julia across a courtyard and sort of pursues her in a very kind of empty and doomed sort of way. Finally, sort of chasing her down, they look at each other and both have to admit to each other that that they had betrayed each other. Now, in this case, to me, at this moment anyway, you know, I'm looking at all the Winstons out there and I'm thinking, for each of them, the betrayal is to so easily give in to fear and allow themselves to be manipulated by fear, to so quickly mistake vengeance for justice, to so quickly give in to catharsis, you know. But honestly, the harder and perhaps much broader and stretched metaphorically part of this is to look at the Julia that I see here as America, and the vast betrayal that that the country in turn gave to Winston, to so readily take those caged rats and hold them so close to the face of a former loyalist, because you found that you could get so much more with the fear than you could get with the love, to so willingly sort of cast off what you were before and assume this other role, because honestly, in the end, it promised you much more permanent comfort and success. If you get where I'm going with this. There's a moment right there where Winston, for the first time, takes a look at Julia after all these years of being separated, and he quickly perceives that though she is that same person, she is not that same person at all. She is coarser. She has a scar. Her skin looks rough. Her waist thick, and he compares her to a corpse. And you know, he realizes, some part of him realizes what the system has done to his once beloved other, and yet he doesn't really care. I mean, he specifically doesn't care, because for whatever joy he used to get from the loving embrace and the trusting relationship that he had with this other, with Julia, it has been replaced by something that feels so much more sure to him, which is this love of country, or more importantly, this freedom from fear. However fleeting that actually is, the knowledge that this great strong other has the ability to occasionally sweep in and rescue you from that which you most fear. Much more powerful. Makes you so willing to ignore what you know is missing. Oceania has always been at war with Eurasia. So, victory, USA, USA, USA. That's the party line. See you next week.